Sheridan from Rust Belt Basketball Coaches Network had a great question sent our way. And the question is, what were your favorite free throw drills when you coached? My first favorite we call Oak Hill free throws from Oak Hill High School in northern Indiana. When I was Coach Flavis Sirk's assistant, I stole this from him. And you got to imagine this is a standard high school gym with side baskets. So we'd have the kids, we practiced JV varsity combined, somewhat evenly dispersed around all 6 baskets. And we'd have the coaches spread out. Coach Sirk would be centralized so he could see everybody. And when I was a head coach, that's where I located myself as well. And we would decide which one of us, if we were really lucky, we'd have 4 coaches. If our freshman coach was able to make it, if they practiced before or after we did, we could have 4 coaches for the varsity JV practice, which was outstanding. But anyway, so the players are shooting 2 free throws at a time and then rotating. Traditionally, these players on the blocks are working on their block outs. They're working on their footwork, their communication, and at times, if free throw blockouts had been an issue for us, we would put people here and make them physically block out. But hopefully that wasn't an issue for us quite a bit. Anyway, the players are shooting 2 and rotating. Now, whoever's job it is that day to pull the trigger is going to call out a name. Any of the boys. It doesn't matter if they're on the foul line or not. But you get your name called, you got to go to the foul line and everything stops. Everybody else holds their basketballs. And we watch that player, and he has a 1-on-1 situation. He makes the first, makes the second, hunky dory. Everything goes back, and we just keep on moving along in this drill. Now, Johnny O'Reilly here gets his name called, and he misses the first. Then everybody in the gym has to run to Johnny O'Reilly's sideline, or a baseline, I'm sorry, and there's going to be a pretty stringent, significant running penalty for missing that first free throw. And then if he misses, or if he makes the first and misses the second, the same thing happens, but the running penalty is not as stringent. And after the running penalty takes place, then everybody goes back to the baskets, and we continue for the time allotment for Oak Hill free throws. My second favorite, we just called pressure test. And that meant no matter what drill we are in, no matter what we're doing, at any time, I can stop, or whoever I gave permission to pull the trigger that day, and put the person on the line. And they've got 1 free throw. That's it. It's a miss or make scenario. And if you miss it, we have a running penalty. And we use the term pressure test a lot when I was coaching. We use the term pressure test with our defense, with our offense, with individual players, with our fundamentals. Can you stand the pressure? So we had all different types of pressure tests, and we also have a free throw game we call pressure tests. So let's say we're teaching a skill at this end, and we are going to play cutthroat now. So we've just taught a skill, and we'd have a line of defensive players here, and we'll put make-believe defensive players here, and whatever we're working on, I could say, okay, let's say this kid backdoors here. We usually did wait until a play ended, and we'd say, all right, pressure test, Mickey O'Rourke, you're up. And then Mickey would have 1 free throw. I really liked it. I thought that simulated game-like pressure a lot. Oak Hill free throws, same thing. When you get your name called, there is a small butterfly in your stomach, especially the first year you played for us, or our first year at school. And, maybe the kids hadn't done things like that from the foul line, but there is a certain amount of pressure associated with that is synonymous to game pressure. And then our last one, roll the dice. So in roll the dice, we would have the players 20 minutes before we scrimmaged, which is the last thing we typically did typically we did switch our practice plans up quite a bit, but our hard scrimmaging was primarily done towards the end of practice after most of our teaching had taken place. But we, for a majority of my team or my career, used Rick Pitino's bricks and saves system to make practices as sharp as possible. And so let's say this team here, obviously they have their sub with them, had an inordinate amount of bricks. And so we're going to run them. And roll the dice, I can say, after, let's say, halfway through, all right, you guys want to roll the dice. And the players that huddle up, and they'd either say yes, coach, or no, coach. If they said yes, coach, say, all right, I'm going to pick the free throw shooter, and he's got one foul shot. If he makes the foul shot, you're done running. If he misses it, I'm going to tack two more, let's say down and backs, whatever they are, onto your total, and you've got to finish them out. And again, we called that roll the dice. Now, with my teams where I had players who had been with me for freshman, junior, senior, or sophomore, junior, senior year, and we had a really strong relationship with each other, a lot of times those guys, those seniors, when I would say, you guys want to roll the dice, let's say Tyler Martin or Jordan Lane or Anthony Barnum would step up and say, yeah, coach, but I want to be able to pick the free throw shooter. And I would respect that. No matter how angry I was or what kind of practice we had, I would typically respect that. It takes a lot for a young man to stick his chest out and ask a question in front of his peers like that. So I'd respect that. And he would pick a free throw shooter, because if I was mad and the kids knew I was mad and they still said, yeah, they wanted to roll the dice, I would pick the worst free throw shooter in the universe and put him on that line. But yeah, that's roll the dice. So those are my top three. I liked things that were kind of spontaneous. I like things that had a lot of spontaneity. I like things that had a lot of pressure associated with it. And I think it's really important with your free throws that everything has consequences. But I think the consequences, again, has to go back to spontaneity, where there's a level of surprise. And plus, with that spontaneity, these kids are kept on their toes. They're not over here on the foul line talking or goofing around, which those were things I didn't tolerate. But that pretty much takes care of all that, because these kids, especially young ones, are terrified their numbers going to get called up. So anyway, those are our three favorite free throw games. Check us out on social media. We've got Instagram, YouTube. Our YouTube page is growing nicely, Facebook, all these things. If you could give us a like, subscribe, those help us grow our small network so much, and we certainly appreciate that. Also, check out our content pack newly launched website at www.myrustbeltbasketball.com. You're going to like the stuff that's on there. It's all relevant, and it's all stuff that coaches can use to make their programs better, no matter if it's our books, ebooks, organizational tools, or our instructional videos. I think you'll find a lot of value in that. So, hey, thank you. Have a great rest of your week as we head into Thanksgiving. God bless, folks.